What's the weirdest thing someone's ever asked you to do in public? A girl came up to me and asked, "Will you be my daddy for 24 hours?" I literally spit out my Sprite. I wanted to scream at this girl that you can't just say those words to someone, especially not in a college cafeteria. I wanted to clear up the misunderstanding, so I said out loud, "Haha, it's a joke, everyone." Well, her name was Mackenzie, and she wasn't joking, just staring at me with these intense green eyes, sliding a crisp $100 bill across the table. "I know you're only like 26, she said, "but you have that premature gray thing happening, and you dress like someone's dad." I looked down at my polo shirt, silently agreeing with her. She explained that this guy John from her chemistry class had been following her around campus for 3 weeks, showing up at her dorm, her classes, even her late-night study spots. "Campus security says he's not doing anything illegal," she said, tearing her napkin into tiny pieces. "But yesterday he told me he knows my schedule better than I do." It sounded like a threat, so I need to do something before he goes too far. The plan was simple but insane. I'd pretend to be her overprotective father visiting from out of town, ex-military, raised her alone after mom died, now working in private security. She coached me on what to say. "Call me princess or sweetheart," she instructed, "but say it like you'd murder anyone who hurt me." She even made me practice my dad voice in the empty stairwell. She also gave me a crash course in intimidation basics. "Crack your knuckles when you see him," she said, counting on her fingers. "Mention Afghanistan casually, and whatever you do, don't break character first." The whole thing felt like preparing for the world's strangest improv show. The confrontation happened that same afternoon. We were walking across the quad, me carrying her books like a protective father, when John appeared from behind the library, not walking, stalking. His eyes locked on Mackenzie like prey. "There you are," he said, like he owned her. I felt Mackenzie's whole body go rigid, her fingers digging into my arm hard enough to hurt. "Princess," I said, louder than necessary, stepping in front of her. "This the boy you mentioned?" John's smile faltered. "Who the hell are you?" He was skinnier than his photo, but there was something unsettling about how he stood too close, how his hands kept clenching. I grabbed his hand before he could react, crushing it until I felt bones shift. "I'm her father, visiting my little girl." His face went from confused to angry to scared. "But you're not old enough." "I had her at 18, I said, still crushing. "Right before Afghanistan." I pulled him closer. "I've dealt with men like you before. Different country, same type." I let go and watched him cradle his hand. John actually took a swing at me then, sloppy. I caught his wrist midair and twisted until he whimpered. People were staring. "Daddy, please," Mackenzie said, her voice shaking for real. "He's not worth it." John stumbled back. "This is insane. You can't just—" "I can't what?" I stepped forward. He stepped back. "We did this dance until he was against a wall. You think campus security will protect you? Call them. Explain how you've been stalking my daughter." We maintained the act all day. I walked her everywhere, scanning crowds like a bodyguard. At dinner, John showed up with 3 friends. They sat 2 tables away, whispering and pointing. Mackenzie's hands shook as she tried to eat. "He's not giving up," she whispered. I walked to their table. "Gentlemen, one chance. Convince your friend to leave my daughter alone, or I'm calling your dean, your parents, the police." One friend actually got up and left. We kept going through her evening study group where I sat in the corner looking menacing. Every time someone walked in, I'd look up sharply like assessing threats. Then I stepped out to get a soda from the vending machine. When I came back, John had Mackenzie cornered against the wall, his hand on her wrist, leaning in close. "You think you're so smart getting some random guy to," he was saying. I didn't even think. I threw the soda out of my hands and took 3 quick steps. My fist connected with his jaw, and John dropped like a sack of rocks. The room erupted. Someone screamed. Mackenzie stood frozen. John groaned on the floor, red coming from his mouth. "Call security," I said calmly. "Tell them a father just defended his daughter from assault." 2 guys helped John out, and he never came back, not even when the day ended. The next morning, exactly 24 hours later, Mackenzie told John had changed chemistry sessions and was no longer interested in her. I said I was happy for her, and then asked, "So, what are we now?" She looked at me with blank eyes. "We're nothing. That was a business transaction." Then she packed up her stuff and walked away. She hasn't talked to me since, but hey, at least I made $100.